Hey, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the biggest business mistakes that new photographers make. And this is photographers who are trying to be commercial photographers, photography as a business, not hobbyists. This is not for hobbyists. None of this matters to hobbyists whatsoever. This is just if you're trying to make money. Now, the first one is really obvious and the rest not so much, but the first one is buying too much kit, having too much kit, spending too much money on kit. I see it so often that photographers, they start in the industry, they buy two top-of-the-line pro full-frame cameras, the 3 zoom lenses to cover everything, a couple of primes, some light. They've spent 10 grand easily just at the beginning. You can absolutely start a photography business for like £2,000, £3,000 by buying secondhand. You don't need all the latest and greatest kit. The point at which that matters is probably a decade away from where you are now. Even if your photography is good right now, it's still a good 10 years away as a business until that kit is really going to justify itself to you. So try not to spend too much money on your gear at the start. Now the next one's really obvious, and that's undercharging or charging for your time. So for example, going, oh, well, I'm £40 an hour or whatever it may be. Charging for time is a stupid idea. Why should you charge for time? I wouldn't charge for time because if we both quoted the same amount of money for the same job, and if I work twice as fast as you, I'm getting paid less for being more efficient. Don't ever quote for time, quote for the job. Quote for the value of the job and the value that you bring for the job, which is a really difficult thing to do. We're not going to go over how to price yourself in this video because that's like a 3-hour-long seminar, but do try and make sure you're pricing for the job you're doing, for the skills you have. They are paying for your skills, not for your time. Do not end up being a photographer who is paid for their time because the only skill you have to that client is that you know how to click a button on a camera, and you don't want to be that person. Now, a lot of you will hear the thing that says, under promise, over deliver. That's the good way to go about your business. It kind of is, but beginners seem to go a little bit too far. They will often be delivering huge swathes of images, doing way too much work because I understand you're feeling a bit self-conscious about what you're doing. You want to make sure that the client feels like they've got their money's worth. Just deliver what's on the brief and a smidge more, maybe an extra image more. And you don't have to. I very rarely over-deliver in that sense. I'll often over-deliver in the quality of the work, but not in the numbers of the work. Don't go and send them an extra 50 images because it just cheapens what you do. And then that becomes the norm, and to over-deliver again, it's just like this escalation of stupidity. So yes, avoid that. So the final one we're going to look at here is overcomplicating shots. The amount of times I see beginner photographers getting into business and thinking that they have to be the big I am, the big pro with all the kit. I have seen shots done with 20 lights, 10 lights, 8 lights, which could easily have been done with 1 and a couple of bounce cards. Remember that a lot of workshops that are selling you how to do things are adding complication in there to make them seem a little bit more impressive. Most of my shots are done with 1 light. We don't often need many lights. Yes, there's the odd occasion where we end up with 10 lights on set, but it's rare. So try not to overcomplicate things, and remember, at the beginning of your career, the budget that your clients have isn't the same as Annie Leibovitz. They're not expecting that level of production. And if anything, by trying to do that level of production, and I've been guilty of this myself, you're going to under-deliver because you'll overcomplicate it. You'll try and do too much within the scope and the budget, and it'll all fall down and the images will look bad. Know where you are in your career, know where you are, what your place is at that moment in time, and pitch that shoot to sit within that box. Do the best you can with the budget you have. Yes, you don't have everything. You don't have the latest and greatest gear. You don't have crews on standby. But just work with what you have and you'll get a much better image than trying to deliver something more complex than the client and the budget allows for. Anyway, I hope that's been of use to you. Hopefully you can avoid some of the pitfalls that I've obviously fallen for. I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.